Hello, science class. Today we are talking about ecology. Within that, we are going to talk specifically on ecosystems and food webs. I'm excited. Are you? All right, let's get started. First, I want you to partner with one of your group pod members and discuss these questions. To start, let's talk about what is energy. All right, go ahead and discuss. All right, so let's discuss what is energy. We would discuss as a class. All right, now let's discuss why do we need energy? What is it for? All right, go ahead and discuss. Love the discussions going on. Oh, that's an interesting point. All right, let's go ahead and bring it together. Johnny came up with a really interesting point. Johnny, do you care to share? Awesome, let's hear it. All right, let's hear from somebody else. All right, what does energy do for animals? Let's discuss that. Great, come back in as a class. All right, anybody want to share what their group was talking about? Great, let's go. Very interesting. All right, how about you guys? Oh, I like what you're saying about those ideas. All right, now let's discuss what does energy do for plants? Is it the same as animals? Is it different? All right, put your heads together and talk. Alrighty, anybody want to share what their group talked about? Yeah, go ahead. Great, great, I like that for sure. All right, how about you guys over here? That's an interesting concept. Alrighty, energy from our book's definition is the property of a system that enables it to do work. Every living plant and animal must have energy to survive. Plants rely on the soil for water and the sun for energy. Animals rely on plants as well as other animals for energy. Did anybody have those concepts when they were talking about with their group members? Good thinking, guys. Way to go. All right, so does anybody have any questions on this? Yeah, so energy is the stuff that gives you a drive to be able to do things. It gives you the ability to pick your hands up, to breathe, to eat your food, to drink that water you're doing right now. Yeah. Alrighty. Photosynthesis. This is how plants particularly get their energy. So, from our book, it says the process in plants and some other organisms in which light energy from the sun is converted into chemical energy in organic molecules. So there's a lot of big words in there. We've talked about some of them, but let's talk about organisms. That's just another word for plant or animal. It's a living creature. All right, and then converted. That's how it's changed into energy. Okay, so let's talk about molecules. That's the tiny little particles that allow the energy to come in. So what would our definition for our class be for photosynthesis? Yeah, go ahead. Alrighty. So let's talk about that more in depth. So we decided that photosynthesis is how plants and other living things get light energy from the sun and change it into their own energy. So within our picture, we can see the sun giving off those arrow energy lights and the plant processing it with carbon dioxide and water and switching it into oxygen and other forms of energy. Awesome. All right, a producer. According to our book, an organism that makes organic molecules using organic molecules and energy. So, let's talk about that. What does that mean? That's a lot of big words. Again, yeah, go ahead. Awesome, you're right on the money. So, a living thing that makes energy used in little parts to make other energy. All right, a consumer. A consumer is an organism that obtains food by eating other organisms. It can be seen as a herbivore or a carnivore. Let's talk about those words. What does herbivore mean? Yeah, go ahead. Very good. It eats plants and animals. All right, how about a carnivore? Yeah, it does eat all meat. All right, so what are examples of a consumer? Yeah, a monkey could be. Chicken, great. So could a plant be an consumer? Aha, a flytrap. The Venus flytrap, that could be a consumer because it has the ability to eat those flies and turn the fly energy into its own energy. Very good, very interesting. All right, let us go on for decomposer, an organism that obtains food by eating dead organic matter. So let's look at this. So we've got our cow. He's run out of food. There's no more grass, so he dies. Yes, Mr. Moo had to pass. So what happens with the food? What happens with Mr. Moo? Well, worms and other decomposer come and eat Mr. Moo's. They eat his flesh. They eat him up, and then guess what, guys? They poop him out. They poop him out and make him into dirt. But they also take that energy that they ate from Mr. Moo's body and make it into their own energy so that they can move around and make those awesome little holes in the ground for our gardens and things like that. All right, so let's look at this diagram. So this one particularly talks about soil decomposers, primary producers that use photosynthesis, primary consumers that are herbivores, and secondary consumers that are omnivores and carnivores. We didn't talk about omnivores. What is an omnivore? Yeah, it is an animal that eats plants or animals. So let's go through those three again. I think I misspoke earlier. So herbivore eats plants. Omnivore eats both plants and animals. Carnivore eats meat. Great. All right, so within this, we've got our primary producers that get eaten by our primary consumers because they are the first. Primary is first, so it is the first to eat that energy from the producers. Secondary consumers have the ability to eat those primary consumers, so they are second in line. Top carnivores or territory consumers are those top dogs of the ecosystem. We will talk about what an ecosystem is soon. But first, let's play a game. So I'm going to need multiple players. So I'm going to hand out player cards as well as tokens that correlate. So give me just a minute to walk around and give you those. Anybody need a card? Nope. Alrighty, great. And we've all gotten our tokens based upon how much. So within this, you're going to only look for food when your organism is directed do so in our rounds. Everybody see that in our later procedures? Awesome. So pay attention to what you can eat. So if you are herbivore, you can only eat plants. Awesome. You guys are so smart. How about carnivores? What can you eat? Meat. Awesome. Omnivores. We don't have this in this game, but I want to hear it. Both plants and animals. Great. All right. So herbivores and carnivores can take up to 8 energy tokens each round. Grass can only take their energy tokens from the sun. Worms only take their energy tokens from organisms sitting down. If you are an organism that have none or 1 energy token left, then you must sit on the perimeter of our game area. At the end of each round, the worms take remaining tokens from any organisms that is sitting down. Circulate the game area when music is playing. Organisms cannot take any more energy tokens from the music when it stops. Take any energy tokens when music stops. Sorry. Observe what is going on in your ecosystem and take notes in your notebook when it is not your turn. So let's start our rounds, and I will walk you through this as we go. So everybody have their rule. Awesome. Let's write some of those rules down on the board and in your notes. Okay, everybody writing it down. All right, let's stand at the perimeter now. We are going to start with grass. Gather 10 energy tokens from the sun and place them in your little bag. All right, now it is my little primary consumer's chance to go out. Rodents and insects look for food. I want you to hunt and walk around as the music is playing. Take up to 8 energy tokens from grass and put them in your bag. Grass, if you have 0 energy tokens left, sit down on the perimeter. Worms, take any remaining energy tokens from each organism who is sitting down. Put half of these energy tokens into the soil bin and keep half in your bags. Observe your teacher as I record how many organisms are remaining in the round 1 column, and I want you to write this in your notes as well. Alrighty, let's move to round 2. Alright, snakes and foxes, this is your turn to hunt around. I want you to take up to 8 energy tokens from rodents and insects and put them in your bag. Rodents and insects, if you have no energy tokens left, I want you to sit around the perimeter. And worms, you got it. You can go take those energy tokens from those sitting rodents and insects. And then, again, put half in your bag and half in the soil bin. Alright, let's take a look at the classroom. Alright, and record this in our round 2 column notes. Alrighty. Round 3, here we are. Hawks and bears, this is your turn. You guys get to hunt around, taking up to 8 energy tokens from the snakes and foxes, and put them in your bags. Snakes and foxes, if you have run out of energy, you get to sit. And then our worms. Yes, you get to move around again and grab those energy tokens. I want you to take half in your bag and half in the soil bin. Alright, let us go. And already everybody moved around. We will now record this in our notes. Alright, so we now can see in our notes how the energy and organisms have changed. What do you guys notice about that? Why do you think this is? Alrighty, let us continue on with our slides. Alrighty, so energy flow. We just did that with our game. Energy flow is the flow of energy through living things within an ecosystem. You guys created an ecosystem. We will talk about the definition in just a second. There is only 10% of the energy that one level can move to the next level. So that is why you can only take 8 tokens. Let's continue on. So looking at our pyramid, we can see primary producers taking energy and moving it up to primary consumers. Only 10% with that little arrow, you see that? And then our secondary consumers can only take 10% from our primary consumers. And our territory consumers take 10% from our secondary. And throughout that, only about 10% of it, because a lot of that is lost to heat, and it is with their cellular respiration, so you're breathing, and the other necessary functions of life, eating and things like that, as well as when you poop, you get out some energy. Interesting. All right, after these animals die, the decomposers can come in. Our little worms and our little bugs and things like that can come in and eat that dead matter from the other levels and decomposing the waste. All right, now we get to talk about that ecosystem. All the organisms that live in a specific area, as well as abiotic, non-living features of the environment. So let's talk about within this picture, we see a cow, we see worms, we see plants, we see rocks, and the sun. So, what are some of those living parts of this particular ecosystem? Yeah, awesome. The cow. What else? The worms and the flowers. Great. And is there anything else? No, because the other stuff is abiotic, non-living things. So, what are some of those abiotic things? Dirt. Great. Rocks. Awesome. The sun. Very good. All right, let's talk about food webs. So we displayed food webs with our game. We just didn't know it. So let's talk particularly about what a food web is. It is a diagram showing the interconnecting food chains that illustrate the flow of energy through an ecosystem. Now you guys learned last year what a food chain is. What is that? Awesome. It is the movement of how animals eat other animals and who is more the top of the food chain versus the itty bitty stuff that gets eaten first. So within this food web, we can see phytoplankton at the bottom as our primary producer. It's getting that energy from the sun. And then we can see things like the benthic invertebrates right here eating those phytoplankton, and this arrow pointing up to it because that energy is flowing there to those invertebrates. After the invertebrates get eaten by sea ducks, the sea ducks gather the energy from the invertebrates, as you can see with this arrow here, and continue moving on to bald eagles when bald eagles eat sea ducks. Interesting stuff. All right, so within this, not all food webs will have this section here explaining, because some are chaotic and some are messy, but this one particularly has visual different food chains within the system. All right, let's get out our activities. When we pass them out, here they are. Within this activity, you are going to analyze and move pieces around to complete the food web, and then after that, you guys will get to create your own food web. So let's take a look at this. So here is your initial paper. I want you to take a look at this. So you're going to cut out this section here and paste it back into the different spots around here. Within that, you're going to label what you placed in here. So if you put the squirrel there, then you're going to label squirrel here. Okay. You may decide you don't want to use these pictures and you want to draw your own. That is awesome, but I still need you to make it fit within here. So if I am putting a chimpanzee here and a shark here, that doesn't make sense, right? It has to fit. It has to work. Also, is there any ocean here? So a shark wouldn't work? Probably not. So there's lots of lines here, but there are no arrows showing which way the energy is flowing. So within this, I want you to label what animal or plant you put in your category box. I want you to have a picture within these boxes, and I want you to show where the energy flows. All right, and then once you finish that, to create your own food web. So with that, I need you to have the 2 decomposers in there, 3 producers, 2 primary consumers, 2 secondary consumers, and your initial energy source. Everybody got it? Awesome. But I would have the kids go through this activity, and then we would come back, share some activities. Maybe they didn't finish it quite yet because they wanted to go extra big on their creating their own food web. So we would potentially continue that the next day. All right, knowledge check. Everybody, we are going to now go through a knowledge check on Google Forum. So I need you to open it up. It should be on Google Classroom, and we will go through and answer these questions. This is just to make sure that I know where you are on this topic. After they go through this, we would talk about field trip opportunities. So field trip opportunities that we have are exploring our own ecosystem in the playground. It's cost effective. We don't have to do anything. We can just go outside at a class tomorrow during this time period. And so I want you to make sure you dress for the occasion. You're warm. It's kind of cold right now, so bring a sweatshirt, bring some pants. Wear what you need to wear to be warm and comfortable because we are going to be outside for quite a while. Another opportunity that we will have is going on a field trip to Lone Pine State Park. Whoop, whoop. All right, so this would be in May potentially, or a time that fits in within your school schedule, to explore the ecosystem and find evidence of our local ecosystem. I would have more information coming your way, as well as a parent permission slip sent out where the parent can cut along the line here and have this information for them, as well as send in if they are allowing their student to participate in the field trip. And then here are some of the sources I used for this slideshow. Thank you for watching.